Hello and welcome back to the Checkpoint Reach podcast. I'm your host Luke Eldon. As ever, I'm joined by my fellow gamers and friend Sud.
Hello.
Hello, and I'm actually joined by a different gamer and friend today because there is no perks on the show. It's Ted Parry. How you doing, Ted?
Hello.
Welcome back.
Second appearance, you know.
Yeah, after the first appearance, I think it was it Games of the Year?
Wasn't it Game of the Year? I seem to
Yeah,
remember it being that one.
yeah, it was.
I think it was.
No, you're right. Yeah, it was.
And we need to pick you up on something, actually. You said that your most anticipated game for 2019 was Crackdown 3.
Yeah, that can you edit that out of the last podcast by any chance?
No, it's a bit late now.
Forever now.
Yeah.
You know what? The irony is, I
Annals of
actually
history.
after I said that a few days later, I started I started getting into watching all the gameplay and all the reviews, and in the end, I was like, I'm not even sure if it's worth buying, because obviously I spoke to you guys after, and obviously you were sort of laughing at the comments.
Choice. Yeah,
but I think you did end up swaying me in the end.
Well, I think you must have listened to me and Matty's review of it, and we basically just shat all over it. So.
Yeah. So that was quickly put in the bin. So
yeah.
I think you
maybe
owe
I think you made the right
Ryan
decision.
thank you. I think they saved you from that abomination.
Save me 40 quid or whatever it would have been. Yeah, true.
Yeah.
I think the reason I said it was because I was actually going through a nostalgic period of playing Crackdown 1. So I think I had the highs of playing that great game and then transferring them to Crackdown 3, which it just didn't work out, did it?
Well, Crackdown 1's better than 3, so I mean, you may as well stick to playing that one because it's a better game.
Yeah, true. It's actually a classic, isn't it? So,
yeah, it's good.
It is, and unfortunately, Crackdown 3 did not live up to Ted's hype of most anticipated game of 2019. However, we usually start the show by chatting about what we've played this week or the past week. I feel like there's one game that springs to mind that we've spoken about. Yeah, and it's FIFA 20.
Yeah. I'll let you start, Ted, because you've not spoke about it yet. I've spoken about it the last week or so I'll let you start with it. What your impressions of it are?
Well, my thing with FIFA has always been that I tend to find the gameplay quite slow. But
this year, lad.
It's even slower this year.
Yeah, this year I just find it extremely slow. I find that it's like let's face it, right? If you got a professional footballer and you put him on one goal line and you made him sprint to the other, he would probably be able to do that in 12 seconds, if not faster. 12, 13 seconds, let's say.
What, from one goal line to the other?
How many meters is it? It's just over.
I think it's 100 meters. So maybe it depends what player it was.
Yeah, so
you might be right.
I reckon
it was a fast player. Possibly.
I must admit, I did when you said it. I don't know, some slow defender like Lovren came into mind.
Yeah, he'd probably take.
No, but
50
I'm
seconds,
saying the average player. That's obviously they're all in shape, aren't they? Most of them are going to run it in between. Really fast players are going to do it in 11, and the slow players are going to do it in 14 seconds, 15, whatever. So what gets me is when you've got a player and he's a semi-fast player and he's sprinting, it's just how long? Literally, if you got a player on FIFA and you sprinted from one goal line to the next, it would literally take 25 seconds. Yeah, and it's that's not realistic.
Yeah,
The whole point, they're trying to make the game more realistic. Make it so the players are faster. It just seems like sometimes you're just running around as a slug, especially, when your players are fatigued as well. It's awful. It's just
they've made it so realistic though. It's literally like playing a Sunday league game. Well, that's what it feels like. It literally feels like you're playing Sunday league football with you've got
Barry's
Ronaldo,
been down
Messi,
the pub
Hazard.
on the Saturday night and now he's playing for you. Can't move.
Yeah, Hazard, Messi, Ronaldo have all turned into like Barry, Chuckle, and stuff like that. And it's like
Barry and Paul Chuckle up front. That's a lethal strike force.
Because we love the Chuckle brothers, obviously.
Oh yeah, of course. I forgot that we lost one of them
Paul,
last
I think
year.
it was Paul, wasn't it? It was a Paul Chuckle. Can't remember which one. I think it was Paul.
I thought it was
no, it was
Barry.
Was it Barry? Oh,
yeah.
Well,
yeah. R.I.P. Barry.
R.I.P. to him because we love him.
But I think besides the speed issue, my first game, what I normally do when I get a new FIFA game, is the first thing I do is obviously you do the practice thing just to get used to the new controls. You have an exhibition game, and then
take it out of the disc and put it in the bin.
Nah, that's a couple of months down the line. Similar to my fantasy team this year. But yeah, what I normally do is I go on FIFA Ultimate Team because in the past I found that that's a good intro to the game. Because what you do is you start off with obviously a pretty trash team, let's be honest.
Yep.
And then you work your way up. So obviously you're in like Division 10 or whatever. But this year, it's obviously like squad battles, isn't it now? This is the new format.
Yeah.
And obviously what I was saying before was you're playing against teams that are like 83, 85, and you've got a team that's 68. So I played it on semi-pro, and I was just getting like beat like 1-2-0. And, when you play an exhibition match, it's like you're winning 6-0. So my complaint with that is it's almost pay to play. It's almost like you have to buy the packs to get a leg up. Otherwise, you're going to have to play on beginner or amateur, and no self-respecting FIFA player wants to do that.
Yeah, the thing is, though, you're right about obviously the pay-to-win aspects, but I actually do think it's just the game as well. The game is so slow that it's even hard to get past the computer. Because the game's so slow, you can't even dribble. But literally, it doesn't. Even if you're playing on like semi-pro, it's impossible to dribble past players.
It used to be that used to be the setting, didn't it? Semi-pro used to be the setting where you could dribble.
You
past
could easily dribble past, but on this one now, the gameplay's so slow. You have to rely on like long-range shots and stuff, and like trying to play like tiki-taka football.
However, I will say
that never works on FIFA.
Have you tried catching a quick player who gets in behind though? That's impossible.
Yeah,
they've changed that.
Yeah. Because it used to be like you used to just catch up to them, didn't you? Like if they had the ball at their feet. But
at least they've made that realistic. That is a bit better.
Yeah, I just think the defending on this year's one is absolutely shambolic, though, isn't it?
We're shambolic.
And you must have seen. You've played it. I know, Ted, you haven't really played online yet, but me and Eldon have played a few games. Honestly, your defenders it's all. Honestly, from kick-off, people can just run through your whole team and score, and it's like, what on earth is this? And there's nothing you can do.
Yeah. There's people that master a couple of tricks, don't they? They know one or two tricks. Yeah, they do them little tricks, left
and they
to
get
right.
master, and you can't do anything.
Yeah, exactly.
And then that's it.
I remember I started playing actually Ultimate Team the other night properly, and after 5 games, I'd won 4, drew 1, and I was thinking, it's all right, decentness. And then I played 4 games in a row and lost 5-0, 5-0, 5-1, 5-1.
Really?
Yep.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I've
that was the end.
I think I've won. I've played about 10 online games and won 2, so that pretty much says it all.
Yeah.
So, honestly, I've drawn like 4 games. The amount of games I've drawn, it's when I've actually been the better team, and just
too many
so
draws.
Annoying.
Costs every team.
The standard of FIFA players. I mean, if you look at like the amount of information people have now, you just do a quick YouTube, you do a quick Google, the amount of information you have disposable to you. And like, if you're willing to put the effort in, you can get pretty good at the game pretty quick. If you are willing to like go through all the tutorials and watch all like the videos,
and people
which
are
obviously,
willing.
I'm not,
but people are.
So
annoying.
it's just the level of competition online now is just really going to increase.
So to sum it up, we're not enjoying FIFA 20 because we're pretty shit at it. So how about you? So have you played? You played any different games?
I've been playing Borderlands. I've been trying to get through it and stuff. Played a bit more. I'm enjoying it more than I was last week.
Oh, that's good. I've
got into it a bit more now. I don't know what it was at first. I couldn't really get into it at first. I was
just I
didn't like their main villains at all. I still don't like them, but they've not been in the game as much the last few hours, so I've enjoyed it more.
Yeah, maybe that's why you're enjoying it.
So yeah, probably. As soon as they come back into it,
isn't that a good thing though that you hate them? Like they're doing their job.
I guess so, but they're not even like fun villains. It's like you just don't want them in the game. You just wish they weren't in the game.
Yeah, irritating.
They're just terrible. I do have to say one thing that I am enjoying the game. I like the minute-to-minute gameplay. Like the gunplay's great. It's fun. Mm-hmm. It's a really fun game to play. But I've got to say the UI is still atrocious, awful. It's an awful UI. Like it's hard to fast travel around. It's not clear how you fast travel properly. The map, I don't like the map. The map's not very clear at all. You get lost a lot. Just annoying. It's an annoying game to navigate. You know, one of them games where you're just playing, you're like, where the hell do I go now? And it's just it frustrates you, and it makes you not want to play it at times. And it's like, just can't be bothered.
I have been tempted to get the new Borderlands because I did quite enjoy it. I think I might have played Borderlands 2 or 1 quite a lot.
It is good.
It is a good game, but I do get what you mean. There are times where you're kind of like, okay, I've been here, but where the hell am I meant to go now?
You have to have a lot of patience with the game, though, with the navigation and stuff, because it's just annoying. Also, as well, the boss battles they're quite enjoyable, the boss battles, but at the same time, I do think the boss battles they're too much sometimes. They're too much of a difficulty spike. Like they're just annoying, and it's just like when you die, you have to start all again. You know, even if you've gotten right to the last bit of health and you've been fighting for like 20 minutes, it's like you're dying for God's sake. It's like I wish can't they just spawn with like half health or something? I know people might be like, oh, get good and all this, but it's like it's not fun. But it's not fun. It's not fun to just keep going back and forward, like dying a couple of times. Like, oh, I've wasted like 2 hours on this boss battle. It's like, oh, but there's definitely difficulty spikes which are annoying with the bosses. But the actual like gameplay is fun. It's a fun game. You know, the environments are good. I like exploring on the game. Do you know what? I actually like 90% of the characters, apart from the main villains, and there is this new character I've been introduced to in the last 2-3 hours called Ava. Oh, awful.
Yeah, I mentioned her a couple of weeks ago. Angry Joe does not like her either.
I think Perks might have mentioned it last week as well. Just an absolutely abhorrent character. I don't know what they were thinking. So annoying.
Strong words from Sud.
She's just such an annoying character. Like, typical, like, one of them just typical annoying, whiny voices.
Yeah.
That you just want to, like...
Yeah.
You just wish you could literally get the butt of your gun and just hit it into her, because it's just like...
What would you say the writing's like in the script?
I mean, yeah, this has had a lot of complaints, hasn't it? People have complained about the writing and stuff about the game. I think I actually don't mind the writing that much. I mean, it is a bit corny and a bit cheesy, but you kind of expect that from Borderlands. It's not supposed to be like an ultra serious game, is it? It's supposed to have a bit of humour in it. I actually like the humour. I think most of the characters are good. It's just 1 or 2 characters plus the main villains let the game down for me a bit. Because it's like, I can't even take the villains seriously because they're so ridiculous. They're literally like, I think we explained this last week, they're basically like kind of like YouTube type streamers that stream all the madness they do and all these killings they do. And it's just like, what is this? Like, it's just, I don't know. It's just really crappy.
So basically they've tried to go too far astray.
Yeah, I think they've gone too far with some of the jokes and stuff. I am enjoying the game. I've enjoyed it more in the last 3 or 4 hours than the first 3 or 4 hours, so...
Well, that's a positive. We'll see how it finishes next week.
Yeah, I'll probably say more about it next week. But
yeah,
it's definitely a solid game. I can't really give a definitive review, but I'd probably give it like an 8 out of 10 so far.
Oh, that's good then.
Not a bad game, just not a great one either, if you know what I mean.
No.
Yeah.
But that is subject to change because when you complete it, you might have a different view.
Yeah, it could be a 4, it could be a 9.
It could be. So wait to find out next week, listeners. Anyway, we're going to move on to our first topic of the day. And that's Sony Crossplay. Sony's Crossplay function for PlayStation 4 has now completed its beta phase and is a full feature for developers to make use of. Strangely though, Sony has made no official announcement about Crossplay being promoted to a full feature. The news instead came from a Wired article which states that Crossplay is now available to any developer that wishes to implement it in their game. Some big news here.
Yeah, I think, it is. I mean, I think... It's funny that point you say about they haven't actually like officially set from themselves.
No, which is
I do wonder. Do you think that's like saving face a bit, like because they know that they're the ones that have been holding it up, so they're just like, oh, let's quietly just, put it through some news article like quietly, like, oh, it's available now, so it's not too much of a fanfare. Because they're the ones, aren't they, that have been holding it up for so long? So it's a bit weird.
I think
announced it themselves.
The thing is I just find it crazy now that they're actually. I mean, it's been coming for a long time. Let's face it. I mean, obviously we've been playing crossplay on the Xbox and PC for a while now. That's been going on for a lot. I think was it Shadowrun? I'm pretty sure Shadowrun was one of the
early
I ever played.
2007.
Yeah,
that was a long time ago.
That was a long time ago. So if you think about all the developments, think then. I mean, back then the technology. I mean, I don't know from memory. I do remember it being a little bit more laggy if it was like crossplay players.
Yeah, the technology wasn't the same.
We're at a different stage now, and I feel that it's almost we're at that tipping point where it was bound to happen. We've got all the technology in place to be able to do that. Virtual reality is on the horizon, and the one thing that makes me question things is that what is the future of the console? I think that has to be the big question out of this, because it makes you wonder, like, what advantages are you really going to get by buying a PlayStation over an Xbox and vice versa? I mean, the only thing that really springs to mind is one, network of effects. Obviously, if you have an Xbox and all your friends are on the Xbox, then you're going to have to stay on the Xbox. However, obviously with crossplay, that takes part of that
equation
problem out.
Yeah,
that takes that. Yeah, that clears that. The second thing is exclusives. So obviously Gears is a prime exclusive for like the Xbox, and Halo is as well, and then you've got Uncharted and Gran Turismo for the PlayStation. But is that enough to really sway someone that's buying one console over the other? I think that there needs to, because it just looks, by the way things are going with Xbox with Game Pass and PlayStation, have they got something equivalent, or is that something that's something they're looking to?
PS Now.
PS Now, that's it. So obviously that's where things are going, but how long until basically these developers say, well, there's no point as being exclusive for you, because we can just put our game on Steam and they can crossplay it anyway. So
yeah, well,
I don't know.
The one thing I'd argue, though, I get what you're saying about, it's one of them that if you've already got your friends on one console and all that, you're more likely to next gen, stay on that console. However, I would say what we saw with the 360 and PS3 kind of contradicts that a little bit, because how many people divert to PS4? A lot.
True.
There's a lot of 360 gamers that went to PS4 based off what they thought, the disastrous Xbox One reveal, the lack of games that we've seen throughout this generation from Xbox, which we all admit it's been a terrible generation for Xbox exclusive wise, hasn't it? It really has.
Yeah, they failed pretty miserably, to be honest.
PlayStation have absolutely crushed them, haven't they, this gen?
Yeah.
And I don't know. To me, like I know, Xbox have invested all this money into studios, but from what we've seen so far, they've been all average games, haven't they? State of Decay 2, an average game. Crackdown 3, average. Gears 5 was a good game, like a really good game.
Sea of Thieves.
Sea of Thieves,
Your favourite game, Ted.
Take that game.
Sea of Piss.
Sea of Thieves. Terrible. But, and maybe with Gears 5, it's like, well, all right, then maybe they're on the, it's improving a little bit. But, I mean, you compare it to, like, look, Last of Us 2 coming out. I mean, it's just no comparison. It's night and day, isn't it? It really is. I mean, God of War, Spider-Man, Horizon. Xbox hasn't had any game on that level this generation. Maybe Forza, right? To be fair, the Forza Horizon series is amazing. They've got the best racer by a mile.
Do you think with this, like announcement and stuff? Well, they haven't officially announced it themselves, but do you think there'll ever be a console that's made by a separate company that literally is just a cross-platform console? Just basically invites everyone in. Get this, and you can. Obviously, they'd have to strike deals with Xbox, Sony, and like Steam stuff. But
do they need to anymore though? Because it's all going digital anyway. Does there even need to be a console in the future? Because
like a Stadia,
we're already saying that.
But not Stadia, being a Google Stadia.
I mean, Stadia. We've all said Stadia's not looking good, is it, for Stadia?
Pay for a subscription, but you also have to pay 40 quid or whatever to buy the game.
I don't know what they were thinking with that. They're idiots.
I just think the future it has to be, in my mind, in the next 10, 15, 20 years of gaming, it has to be the fact that Microsoft and Sony are going to have to really develop their own game studios and really heavily invest in their own development studios that make exclusive games that would then go on to a network.
That tempts someone to go from one to because they're all going to be. Let's be honest. in terms of like the technology and stuff like that, they're all going to be similar, aren't they?
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
you know, Game
What's
Pass,
the difference
PlayStation
between
now.
Xbox and PlayStation, really,
Not really
though,
much
when it comes to power and processing?
Well, yeah, the console thing. It's more about definitely going forward. Because people who say, didn't they? Do you remember a few years ago? People were like, oh, exclusives don't matter anymore. It's irrelevant. It's like actually, you could argue exclusives are going to matter even more.
Yeah,
going
definitely.
forward.
Well, at this rate,
Because, I mean, and you know, I know which position I'd rather be in Sony's position right now. I think, but having said that, because you know Sony already have the established franchise and stuff like that, and they have established studios. But having said that, you know Xbox has made a lot of, you know, they've made a lot of gains, haven't they, with their studios recently? So we're gonna have to wait for a few years though to see the fruits of that labour. But I think right now, I know where my money is right now. Mate, it's probably on Sony, but
let's be honest. Take us back. Say this option was in now, and it's between Xbox One and PS4, and we're sat there like, why don't we just get a PS4? They got better exclusives, and we can crossplay.
Oh right, I mean it'd be PS. I mean it wouldn't even be a debate right now, would it? If we could go back,
exclusivities or the exclusive games, I think they could definitely swing a lot of people, and I mean rightly so when you see the quality of them that Sony brought out. So,
well, of course, we didn't know that in 2013.
No, we didn't, I guess. But if we, with hindsight, again,
with hindsight, To be honest, with hindsight, would anyone have chosen? I mean, you'd have to be, you know, a very hard loyalist Xbox fanboy to have chosen it over the PlayStation in hindsight, wouldn't you?
The only unpopular opinion I have is I actually like the Xbox Connect, and not because of many of its not because of like the gaming aspects of it, but just for the laziness of saying Xbox, you know, go to Netflix.
Yeah, I think you're in the minority with that one.
I am.
But that's not even needed anymore because you've got like all these apps that do it now, haven't you? So you don't even need Connect. So, but yeah, I think going forward, well, just going back to I guess the crossplay, I think what we're going to see going forward is I don't think it's going to be much anyway because Xbox Game Pass I think will be on the PS5 at some point. I'm pretty convinced of that. I do think it will be on the play. Maybe not straight away, but maybe in the next 4 or 5 years.
Even
you might
with
see
them
Xbox Game
pushing
Pass.
PS Now.
Yeah, because why not? Because Xbox. Why wouldn't they be on PlayStation?
Well, Xbox would love it. Yeah.
Are you saying from PlayStation's point of view?
Yeah, PlayStation's point of view. Yeah.
It might take a bit of persuading, but maybe eventually, if Xbox give them a lot of cuts and stuff like that, they might think, do you know what? Maybe it's worth it. You know,
I think it's really going to be interesting with Call of Duty Modern Warfare, though, because that's just been for so long. That's just been sort of, you know, you pick a team, don't you? You know, you're either PlayStation or Xbox, and that's going to be really interesting.
Yeah,
it's going to be. Yeah, it's seen like, you know, I mean, I think it's. I don't know. I'm like 50-50 on crossplay anyway, because part of me thinks, who cares? In a way, because it's like, well, there's always going to be enough players to play like COD, isn't there?
True.
But having said that, maybe for smaller games, having crossplay is good because
you know, that's a good point.
You're going to have double the user base, aren't you? Mm-hmm. Basically,
yeah.
You know,
so
if
you
you
keep the games alive for longer that way, don't you?
I think of the games in the past that we played, and then like 6 months later, it was like, oh, no one's playing this online. Great, you basically have to abandon the game. Like, whereas if it had been on both, there would have been more people. So it is good in that regard. At the same time, it is one of them where I think, is it that big of a thing for developers? Do they really care that? I mean, I don't know. For publishers and stuff, like just Sony and Xbox, are they really that bothered about crossplay, or is this just pressure from developers?
Tough question.
You know,
not
because Sony were reluctant for a long time, weren't they? So
I have a feeling it's more developer pressure because there's no. If you think about what we just alluded to before, what benefit do Xbox and PS4 have? It makes them even more irrelevant in the sense of which platform you play on, and they want as a business, they want to have you to commit and get tied in. That's why Xbox, you know, that's why they had the gamer score to start with, because they hooked people in. It was a differentiator that said, okay, well, all right, you want to buy a PlayStation, that's fine, but you're basically having to start from scratch.
And you know, some people might say, well, that's irrelevant, whatever. It's just, but the thing is, even if like only 5% of the user base cared about something like that, it's still 5% that might choose your console over the other. So any little things
which
like
could
that
make a massive difference.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's going to be interesting with the crossplay, but I just think in the end, everything is going to be crossplay eventually, anyway, isn't it? It's looking that way. It's looking like eventually
heading that way pretty fast now.
But it's funny though, isn't it? Because we talk about it and we say, well, are Sony that bothered? Well, we saw that thing. Did we talk about it last week? Yeah, we did, didn't we? The Spec Ops thing.
Yes.
About them having exclusive.
Yeah.
So Sony have it exclusively for a year, that Spec Ops mode. Now that goes completely against crossplay, doesn't it? Really, when you think about it. Because that mode's exclusive to only PlayStation players for a year. So it's like, that's what makes me think Sony... I think Sony in an ideal world wouldn't even want crossplay. But they kind of have to do it to appease, their fans and developers. So it's an interesting one.
Well, like Ted mentioned, I mean, it's a good point. Like, from a business stance, why would you really want crossplay?
It makes no sense.
You want to stand out as much as you can so you can get people to buy your console. So
yeah.
But obviously, from a gamer's side of it, which we are, that's great. I mean, we're not going to argue, are we?
No.
So we're happy to have it. We should actually touch on with PlayStation. There was a little bit more news that came out last week as well. They put out a tweet that said, "It is with great emotion that we announce that Worldwide Studios chairman Sean Layden will be departing SIE. His visionary leadership will be greatly missed. We wish him success in his future endeavours and are deeply grateful for the years of service. Thanks for everything, Sean." I mean, that seemed to come out of the blue as well, didn't it? That was a bit of a shock.
It happened last week, didn't it?
It did.
Yeah, I don't think people were expecting that. It kind of, as well, I saw people commenting saying that it was kind of without much of a fanfare, which makes you think there's been some sort of maybe rumblings at the top. Yeah, I know. Apparently, the rumor was that he's been disagreeing with a lot of the other leadership members.
Oh, really?
Like he's not sure about there's been with direction. They're not really on the same page with the direction they want to take it. Some are saying one thing, he's maybe saying another.
He didn't want crossplay.
Maybe. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Who knows? I mean, we'll never know, I guess. The
not unless he says
reason.
Yeah.
Unless he comes out and moans about something, but I doubt he will. But yeah, he's always the guy, isn't he, that you see at the PlayStation events. He always usually is the first person you see when they're hosting an event at E3 or at PlayStation Experience.
It's like an end of an era.
So, yeah, I mean, it's like, I think he's been there a while now, hasn't he, as well? I remember even do you remember the Xbox reveal?
Yes.
He was the one at the PlayStation reveal and doing all the sort of saying about this is how you trade games in, and I think he started at that E3, so he's been there a while.
How long's that now? That's like 7 years ago, isn't it?
5. I mean, he's been at Sony since 1996. He's been there a long time.
Yeah.
But it is a bit of an end. It's kind of the end of the era for PS. It's like he kind of is the PS4 era, isn't he?
Mm.
He's kind of seen as the success, really.
Yeah, he guided
before
them
that, PS3
through it,
struggled, gaining momentum in the end, and then PS4 carried on that momentum. But it'd be interesting to see because everyone expects, don't they, that Sony are going to go from strength to strength, and the evidence would suggest that probably will still happen.
But it depends who's in charge now.
I mean. Yeah, I mean, it does depend, but I mean, just in terms of, you look at the direction they're going in, it looks like they're still going in the right direction, doesn't it, with their single-player game focus.
Mm-hmm.
They've bought Insomniac, which is, obviously everyone's pleased with that because it means more Spider-Man.
Yeah,
exclusively as well, so that'll be another big seller on PS5, but you just never know, do you? I mean, people thought the 360 was going to last forever and Xbox was going to go from strength to strength, and look at the disaster that happened on the Xbox One. So
people thought Manchester United would last forever, and then Fergie left, and now they're 2 points off relegation. So it is what it is.
Have to get that in there, don't you?
What a fantastic weekend for Liverpool fans.
Anyway, let's move on.
We'll move on because Sud's a City fan.
Not a great weekend for us.
Before we go into the next topic, though, we wanted to take a quick moment to shout out some of our friends of the show.
Hey everybody, this is Nerd Bomber here, one of the co-hosts of the Online Warriors podcast. Our weekly podcast started as a way for 3 friends to keep in touch and discuss their passion for movies, gaming, technology, and entertainment. And since then, we've grown into a fantastic online community. Every Wednesday, we release a new episode discussing the latest nerdy news, and then we go hands-on with our weekly adventures and a fun trivia show. Sound interesting? Check us out on every podcast platform, including Spotify and Apple Podcasts, or hit us up at onlinewarriorspodcast.com.
But no, you made good points, and it is interesting to see what direction they'll be going in after this. However, we'll go in a different direction and move on to topic number 2, and that's the Major Games Writing Award cancelled. Uncharted dev calls it misguided slap in the face. The Writers Guild of America, the union that represent writers across movies, TV, and video games, has scrapped its video game category for the next edition of the show. WGA has honoured video game writing since 2008, so this is a big change, and developers are sounding off about it. So, yeah, I mean, they have a right to be unhappy.
I just kind of think, now this might just be me on my observation, and I don't know how much this does tie into what this is, but it's either one or two things. I mean, it's either the fact that there are still great writers out there, but they don't want to pay for the service, or the fact that there aren't as many good writers anymore, and that they don't feel the need to carry on the award, so to speak. One thing that I've noticed personally from playing games is I personally believe that the writing 10, 15 years ago was a lot better in games. And one prime example I'll give of that, and I think this has been alluded to before on the podcast, is Gears 4. I thought the writing was abysmal. As I said, like, that's one example. There's a few other examples of games where I just feel that the writing hasn't been, and it's almost been like, oh, it's an add-on to the gameplay or the game. As I said, I'm not sure whether that is the issue, whether it's almost like, well, you know, or whether it's just the case that there are, you know, the writers just don't want to sign up. But I don't know. It is a bit weird to scrap a whole category. Writing is such an important aspect of the game.
Yeah,
it makes a story. It makes the characters. That's how you emotionally connect with characters. At the end of the day, it's through their story, and obviously their character has to revolve around how they speak and what they say. And I just think if effort isn't put into that, it's just a very stale, boring story.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I get what you I mean, you said about you think maybe some games were better written 10 to 15 years ago than some now. Yeah, I do agree with that, but at the same time, I'd also say that there were some horrifically written games as well 10 to 15 years ago. So,
yeah, that's a question.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's, there's some, it's good and bad, isn't it? There's some brilliantly written games and some bad ones. I think you look at like Red Dead 2, for example. I mean, the writing in that game is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it really is amazing. The writing. I think that rivals any movie that I've seen in the last 2 or 3 years.
It was like basically playing The Revenant, wasn't it? Basically.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's brilliant writing. I mean, and even though, I mean, we God of War, for example, we said it was overrated. It is, but the writing in the game's great.
Yeah,
the storytelling is
brilliant.
Even Spider-Man, like even a game you wouldn't expect, even a game you wouldn't expect the writing to be amazing. I thought the writing was great in Spider-Man. The story is the best part of the game.
Yeah,
for me.
And they nailed Spider-Man.
I mean, so I think it's a bit ridiculous, this argument, this argument people still have of our movies and a much better written and a better form of art. It's a load of rubbish.
Yeah, things have changed.
There's some awful movies out there. I actually think movies are getting worse, personally.
Yeah. Well, it's like the video game industry now. It's the biggest entertainment industry.
Remake.
So there's a reason for that, and that's because they also tell good stories.
No, it is important to note, isn't it, that I think Ted touched on it a little bit there as well. I mean, is this just because a lot of these game developers wouldn't sign up to they wanted them to pay for the membership, didn't they?
Yeah,
basically, and a lot of them won't sign up to it, so they don't recognise it, and it's like, yeah, I mean, I kind of understand a little bit where they're coming from, but at the same time,
it's a bit snide, isn't it?
This is a bit ridiculous.
It's a bit childish.
Really? It's childish. It's silly. It makes no sense because, as we know, other forms of media are more and more including games in, things they wouldn't have 10 years ago. So it feels like it's sort of a step backwards, doesn't it? Almost.
Yeah.
For these to be like, oh well, we're not recognising video games, and it's like, come on.
The writers deserve to be recognised. Can
we just say as well, the video game industry is bigger than the movie industry now.
Mm-hmm, yeah, no,
it makes more money. It generates more money, so
it's the biggest industry in entertainment now.
Yeah, so it makes no sense. It's bigger than music. It's bigger than film, so it makes no sense why they wouldn't be recognising it, to be honest with you. But I think it's still going to take I still think it's going to take maybe 10-15 years for them to truly be recognised. For example, like BioShock, for example, that game is an absolute masterpiece of a game. Like, and that has I don't think that would be recognised in the same way as Interstellar, would it? Or a modern classic like that.
Interstellar was the first one that came to your mind.
I don't know. It's one of them films that everyone goes on about. And amazing, isn't it?
I do like it. You haven't
people
seen
do
it?
say don't. Well, people say it's going to be like a modern classic, don't they? Like people look back in 20 years and say, "What an amazing film" and stuff. That's my point. That's what I was trying to make out.
Yeah.
And there's like Red Dead 2 is a good example. Even Spider-Man. These games in like 10, 20 years should be remembered as greats.
Yeah, but the difference back then was gaming was seen as what, dorky. People like, oh, you play video games. What a geek! You live in your mum's basement and all that sort of thing.
Yeah, true.
I think that's changed now.
Yeah,
the perception of the video game industry's changed.
Do you think as well with this that because a lot of the focus is now on online gaming, that it's almost like the focus on a very good story and a very well written story is just very minimal now compared to what it used to be? Because that was gaming's bread and butter, wasn't it? That was all they had. They didn't have online gaming, so they had to have good stories.
Yeah, it does feel less since online gaming's become more prominent.
Well, it's this whole thing now, but I mean, I think we've banged on this on the head a lot of times in the past couple of weeks, but this obsession now with having to create your own story and like open world, everything has to be open world, make your own story, all this rubbish, and it's like, just make me a good. I'm not saying every game has to be linear, but can there not just be the odd game that is linear that just tells me a good story? What happened to them good old days?
Yeah.
Even like, I mean, I don't know. I can't remember if we touched on this with The Last of Us or not, but even The Last of Us, there's rumours that it's going more open, and it's like, oh, just stop. I don't want an open world Last of Us. It makes no sense, and it's just.
It's like even Gears 5. Gears 5 has almost tried to.
Yeah, Gears 5 is a good example.
Sort of side quests and side missions.
Yeah, me and Perks didn't play a single side quest.
I did play the side quests in Gears 5, and they were okay. Well, I didn't hate them, but at the same time, they didn't need to be there.
No,
they literally didn't need to be there at all. They could have not been there, and the game would have still been good. So, trying to shoehorn in all these like open world elements, and it's just like, I think it's laziness in a way from developers. I think they know they can get away with.
You do what you want to do. We can't be bothered to write a good story.
You just explore this world, and we'll just make up like, oh, look at this.
The saying that you alluded to, create your own story, that just seems very lazy, and it's so crap. You see that and you're just like, oh, great. Yeah, so there's no real story there that's really going to get me, invested. I'm just going to have to create my own story where I go and talk to an NPC and I want him to say this, but he says nothing like that. And it's like, oh, well, my story's over.
But I think it's laziness anyway. You know how they say, like, oh, well, we don't need to create as good a story because it's open world. Yeah, but, all right, well, I'll just take you back to 2 games from last year that I played that go against that mold. The first one's an obvious one, like Red Dead 2. That had a great open world and it had a great story.
Yeah, it did both. But it's Rockstar, isn't it? They tend to do both.
Yeah, Rockstar are masters, to be fair. But another game, Assassin's Creed Odyssey. You'd think normally, actually, Assassin's Creed Odyssey had a really good story and it had a good open world as well. So it can be done. It can be done.
Yeah, the only thing I heard about that was the voice character from the guy was pretty poor.
Yeah,
his accent.
People preferred playing as the girl in that, which I agree. The girl was much better, actually, to play as the main character, but great game. It was a great game, and it was a good example of a game that can do it both ways, and that's what I'm saying about. I'm hoping Cyberpunk's another one that can do this.
Yeah,
because that's going to be open
coming off the back of Witcher 3. I'm very confident.
You'd hope that game's another one that can do it, but I am getting a little bit fed up and sick of this idea that every game has to be 100 hours long. You have to make your own story and all this rubbish.
Yeah, give us a variety.
I'd rather have a good 10 to 15 hour game than a 100-hour one that's just filled with crap.
I just like more choice. Choice. They all follow the same formula these days.
At the end of the day, when you think back to when we all think back now, quickly to our the best games we've played, our favorite games, I guarantee a lot of them are probably linear single player games.
Metal Gear Solid
mostly.
1.
Ratchet and Clank
story.
Yeah, just anything like that. Even GTA, even GTA's. I know they're a little bit open world, but they just have focused stories, and it's like, it just annoys me a little bit. This obsession with everything has to be massive, and it's just annoying.
No, I do agree. It can get annoying. I prefer more variety, but just touching on this news story, I think, as Ted's touched or alluded to, it strikes of childish behaviour. Sorry, the Writers Guild are just like, no, you don't want to pay? Okay, no category for you, no awards.
That's most likely what it is, to be honest, isn't it?
Yeah, it seems that way. It's just, it's not good though, is it?
No.
It's pretty unfair and childish, like I mentioned. But yeah, there we are. We'll move on to our third topic, and we're going to cover a little bit of movie news. We're going to mesh two news stories into one, basically, because we'll talk about both. We're going to start with Gandalf should be a woman in the new Lord of the Rings TV show, actress says. An actress from Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings movie franchise has spoken up to say she believes a woman should play a female Gandalf in the new Lord of the Rings TV show. Robin Malcolm, who played the small part of Morwen in the Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers, told Stuff.nz that it's time for women to get more front and centre. So, how do we feel about Gandalf potentially being a lady wizard or a female wizard?
No, I guess we have to be a little bit careful with this. But look, I just think it's a bit silly, really, isn't it? It's getting a bit stupid now. Like, we all understand that
we need to be careful about this. This is outrageous.
Yeah, well, you know, I know. I think even most women would agree this is getting ridiculous. Saying that, like, it's literally the equivalent of saying Lara Croft should be a man.
Yeah.
But what's the difference? What? I know we laugh, but what is the difference?
But we've got Indiana Jones, and they made Lara Croft, which is great. Oh, yeah. Two great characters. But I'm just alluding they should have another character for a female that's similar to Gandalf if they want.
Well, that's what. And we said this off air, didn't we? We said we wouldn't if it was just a case of, you know, you're going to make a new show similar to Lord of the Rings, you know, some new epic fantasy, and the main like wizard in it is a woman. Fine. Well, I've got no problem with that whatsoever. But to try and like they're basically trying to rewrite epic novels, aren't they? Like, you know, I'm not being funny, but J.R. Tolkien, when he wrote it, Gandalf was a male.
Yeah.
So
it's just what he went with.
It's not. There's no sort of like debating, is there? It's not something we can debate about.
Well, that's the thing. I think with something so loved, such as Lord of the Rings, everyone has built a story in their head of what Lord of the Rings is. And I just feel that, you know, based on the article that I was reading about it, one of the comments was that, well, it's fantasy anyway, so no one really cares. We can just change it. But that's not the case. That's like, people have grown up on this. People have seen Gandalf. People know what Gandalf is and what, you know. So I just think, you know, whether this is just media centralization and they're just, you know, doing it to get a reaction. But as you've said before, I think, you know, I mean, having a female sort of Gandalf, or maybe like getting a witch, like, I don't know, what's the opposite of a wizard? Is a witch, isn't it? So you could easily bake that in. That would make it interesting and maybe spice it up. But you can't fundamentally change one of the most popular characters.
Could you imagine in the new Star Wars if they're like, oh, by the way, Han Solo is now a girl? Yeah, and she comes back with Chewie or something. It's like, why are you changing that character? Why not create a new female character in the universe?
I like I said before with the Lara Croft one, it's, you know, what about in the future if they remake Alien? And they say,
we don't want a man. Ripley's a lady.
Well, that's what I mean. It's the same thing as saying that and saying, can you imagine the reaction if someone said, well, I think Sigourney Weaver, now Ripley should be a man? Can you imagine the reaction?
Yeah, no, and I'd be one of those people, though.
Yeah, I'd be saying, like, don't be ridiculous.
Yeah, why are you
like,
changing
such an iconic character in an iconic film. You can't. It's ridiculous. And this is exactly the same. There's no difference. Nope. And I mean, I don't know. I mean, can you see it happen? I can't see it happening personally, especially not for this TV show. I'm pretty sure. I doubt it very much.
Well, they have a lot of.
I doubt it.
Freedom with it, don't they? But
they do. But
keep Gandalf. But like I alluded to, why not create a new female character? They've got the freedom to use in the world now.
Yeah, I mean,
they could create a really good female character. They've got all the tools to do so. Why not use them? Not take a beloved character and just say, oh yeah, he's no longer this. He's her. Or,
but they do. I mean, they have Galadriel. They have Galadriel. Mm-hmm. I mean, what isn't she like ridiculously powerful? I mean, she is like one of the most powerful beings in the entire universe. In that universe, and Galadriel might even be in this because she's old, isn't she? She's an elf, like a high elf or whatever. So why not just have her front?
As like a core character.
Yeah, this is what annoys me. You know? Why do they have to change? Like,
and I don't want Galadriel to turn into like Gabe or something, and it's a man. Yeah, you know what I mean? Just keep the character.
It's really annoying, to be honest. And what I want to know is, when's this gonna where's the end point for this sort of thing? Is there going to be an end point where we go, well, that's just crossed the line completely now. Is there an end point, or is it just going to carry on this?
My opinion of this at the moment is going to carry on for a while because we're in the phase of remakes. We remaster games, we remake old films, so the characters, everyone's up for debate, like, oh, why not change character? Why don't we make new creative things now? New stories,
they've run out of ideas.
New visions. Yeah, but they could change things.
I mean, they say, don't they, about the whole, there's only 6 different ways to tell a story. I mean, they've clearly run out of ideas to tell them stories because all we're seeing now, I mean, there is new things coming out, but it's not very often now. Most of the, even most of the good things are remakes nowadays.
I know, but like with the new things, why not just cherry pick from like
you
good
would think
things
so.
in the past, and you can be like, okay, we'll make our own character here. We'll have it a female. It's not that universe, but we can use little parts from that. That was good, so we can, you know, sort of mix that into our own style and vision. Where are the visionaries these days? Why is it always remakes? Oh, it's not always, but it just seems like every day there's something like, oh, this is getting remade, or
it's annoying, isn't it? To be honest,
it's frustrating. It just becomes a bit stale.
Like, in movies, there probably has been one, but of all the movies I've seen, most of the movies I've seen this year have been remakes. Aladdin, Lion King, like all these they're all remakes. Mm-hmm. And look, I actually enjoyed both of them movies, but
Dumbo
you can only enjoy them so much. Yeah, Dumbo. You can only enjoy them so much, can't you? You're not going to enjoy it as much as the first time you saw Lord of the Rings at the cinema. You know, it's just not going to be like that because it's not something new. You've seen it before. But yeah, a lot of things coming out now are remakes, and it's a bit worrying that the remakes are the ones that are really good, and the new things they're trying aren't that great at the minute.
However,
so that's a bit worrying.
I do want to just switch to the other part of movie news that we all talk about, and this is new. It's definitely a new take on a character, which has received some, glowing reviews and praise from certain parts of the media, but there's also been some controversy, and that's regarding Joker. And we just wanted to pick up what CNN tweeted a couple of days ago, maybe yesterday, a couple of days now, I think. They tweeted, Joker, the film about a marginalised clown who goes on a killing rampage, is facing a wave of criticism that it glorifies a killer and could encourage copycat attacks. I mean, come on.
It goes back to the old. I mean, at one point there was a point. I don't know the exact date. Maybe it was like 8-10 years ago, when gaming was getting absolutely slated.
It happened a few months ago as well, Ted.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's still prevalent now. I mean, I'm just talking about when it first kicked off.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just the same thing. It's like they're talking about people playing games like that causes people to go out and kill people. I mean, at the end of the day, the problem is you've got a population in America, which is is it now 500 million, or is it about?
It's pretty big.
Yeah, it's 600, 700. Yeah. I think it's around that, maybe more. And at the end of the day, everything is a percentage. So if you have 0.001% of those people that are mentally deranged, and they happen to watch Joker, or they happen to kill someone on a video game, like they're gonna end up doing it anyway. I don't think it's gonna. Yeah. It's not as if like we suddenly say, right, you know, unless they implemented something where it was like you have to have a mental health check before you're allowed to like play this game or you're allowed to watch this movie. But at the end of the day, how can you stop that? It's like saying, basically their argument is they're trying to say that a mentally healthy person that is happy with their life and has a good family, has things going for them, is going to suddenly watch Joker and think that's a good idea and go on a killing spree. It's just nonsensical. At the end of the day, there's crazy people. If that's going to happen, it's going to happen, and it won't be because of Joker.
Oh,
I mean, this
it's just a silly argument. Which, as I said, with media, I try and not get too worked up about it, so to speak, because a lot of it is sensationalized.
Well, yeah, that's the point I was just going to come on to. I mean, how much of this is actual outrage and how much of this is
it's fake outrage?
Clicks
I think
and just getting people to watch the show. I mean, people know that people like us, are going to click on that link, aren't they, and watch it and get angry about it, and other people are going to be not angry about it, and vice versa. And it's just all for they're a company at the end of the day, they're trying to make money, they're trying to stay relevant in a world that is a lot of these news companies now are becoming irrelevant, and a lot of them are going to shut down in the next few years because they're just not as relevant anymore. I mean, people don't watch the news like they used to, do they? People don't watch the news,
No, so it's almost like they're clutching at straws.
They're clutching at straws. It's like a last hurrah, isn't it?
It is.
We're trying to get as many clicks as possible before we know. Well, I mean, YouTube has killed. Let's be honest, YouTube pretty much has single-handedly killed half these news companies off.
Probably Twitter as well.
Twitter, YouTube, Facebook. They've all killed them off because people don't need to watch the news to find out news anymore. If anything, you find out news much quicker by watching YouTube or Twitter. I
just go off my own experiences. I remember back in the day when I was a little bit younger, I always checked Sky Sports News to find out the football news over here in the UK. Always, without fail. Now, I go on Twitter.
It's just
refresh.
Well, there's more reliable sources than Sky.
Yeah, exactly.
Which aren't even reliable anymore.
No, because they introduced Sky Bet, and now all of a sudden some questionable news stories there.
Yeah.
Well, on that news note as well, I attended an event where someone who owned a PR company actually talked about something quite shocking. Actually, he had a client that was in, I can't remember the industry or the topic, but essentially his goal was to try and get his article and the company that he was representing on both the Guardian and the Daily Mail. And as you'll know, they have it's more or less two separate audiences, isn't it? Mm-hmm. So what he had to do was, with the Guardian, he had to frame it in a certain way so it was more like positive, and it was more like, here are the stats, this is where things are going. And then to get it on the Daily Mail, he had to massively centralize, just make it just basically focus on the 5% of the article that was potentially negative, and just completely blow it out of proportion. And
it's like a completely different narrative.
Basically, Daily Mail ran this really negative story of the stats, and the Guardian ran a really positive story. And I just think, going back to the Joker, they could easily do that. It's just like they can just make any little thing as big as they want. Mm-hmm. I know it's a little bit off topic, but all I'm doing there is just highlighting.
It's how they operate. It's how they operate.
That's how they operate, essentially. So
yeah, I mean, it's funny though, because this isn't like an isolated incident anymore, is it? It's anything that's slightly controversial. There's a story about it every time.
Mm-hmm. Without
every single thing. And this isn't really related to the Joker. I mean, it kind of is, but it isn't. But I mean, I'm looking forward to when The Last of Us 2 comes out, because that game is going to get a lot. I can already see it now.
Oh, yeah,
that game is going to be in for some criticism because, well, I know you watched the trailer, Ald. In one of them trailers, you literally see someone getting disemboweled.
Yep.
I mean, it doesn't get more violent than that, does it?
No.
So I do wonder where it's going to go.
The criticism is coming there. Yeah.
I mean, you'd imagine it probably won't matter because the game will do so well critically and stuff like that, and commercially. But we saw it in other games in the last year or so. You alluded to a few games a few months ago and stuff that were getting criticised, and whether it's games or movies now, it seems like people are just overreacting to everything. It's like things. It's as if they're saying things can't even be made anymore. It's like we should ban them. It's like it's ridiculous.
Yeah,
no
more violence. We just.
I
think you
we
mentioned
still
off
apparently
air.
live in this,
utopian
world where we all dance around with fairies and stuff. It's like it's just not how life works. Is it?
Yeah, it's just not. It's just not.
So it's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous.
It is.
So yeah, if you see me in the news next week because I've watched the Joker, then it wasn't because of the Joker. It's because I was mentally deranged.
Watch out for the clown known as Ted Parry. But yeah,
marginalised clown.
Oh yeah,
sorry. Get it right.
Sorry, mate.
Marginalised clown.
I've done it again. But yeah, to be fair, I'm looking forward to seeing the Joker, and I'm sure I won't agree with the controversy. So there's my opinion on that already. Anyway, we're going to finish off the podcast this week with the quiz, Checkpoint Reach quiz.
Quiz time.
It is no longer Sud v Perks. Perks isn't here, so we'll just throw Ted in. Actually, Ted can bounce Perks' half.
So no pressure on Ted here.
Yeah.
He's battling on Perks' behalf.
Yeah.
I'm sure Perks will make up that it doesn't count or something next week, but it does count. Because Elvin is the quiz master.
Is this an ongoing battle?
Yeah.
It's like...
Yeah, when
we've
only
had 1 week and Perks won in controversial circumstances, it has to be said, but he won nonetheless.
Debatable. Anyway, This is going to be the GTA quiz. And basically how it'll work is I'll ask each Ted and Sud, I'll ask them both 3 questions each. And there will be 1 point for the correct answer if they can answer without using multiple choice. If they use multiple choice, it's half a point. Also, if you get the question wrong, it goes over or passes over to the other guy.
Right.
It does, but you can't obviously use multiple choice if, like, Ted hasn't, for example.
No, that's fair enough.
Yes, so, the GTA quiz. Are you ready? Well, we need to decide who's going first, actually.
It's up to the quizmaster.
Flip a coin.
So,
has anyone got a coin on him? Because I do not. I don't even have
I do.
Of course you do.
Hang on.
Money
what have I
bags.
got here? Definitely don't want.
Well, if you've got the coin, I'll call him.
Here we go. Look, this is not.
Oh yeah, we can see he's on camera.
Okay, right. What do you want then, son?
Heads. I'll go heads. I always call heads. So just say heads.
Oh, and
it
is.
Show to the camera. It's
That's
tails. So it's Ted. Well, it's your choice. You can choose to go first or second.
Yeah, you get a choice, Ted.
I'll just go first. Let's get it over and done with.
Here it is. Here he goes. Are you ready, Ted, for your first question?
I'm ready.
Okay. What is the name of Franklin's dog in GTA 5?
Oh, this one's easy. Chop.
Chop is correct.
Yes.
That was a nice, easy
I
start.
love that dog. I love that dog.
Yeah, Chop's great.
I used to take Chop out with me everywhere, like shooting up the hood and
well, I think we all
things.
would have known that. That's a good one in it to have. Chop's a legend.
Nice, easy start.
I'll wait for my 10 out of 10
Let's be honest,
question now.
That was just, if you had time to kill, you would just go around, get out of the car, start fights, and just get Chop to attack people.
Chop was great.
Chop's the main man.
It was a pretty good dog.
Chop.
Right. First question for you, Sud.
Let's do it.
What colour represents the Grove Street family in San Andreas?
I feel like I should know this, and it's probably... I've got a colour in my head, but I'm too scared to say it.
I'm surprised you don't know it.
I think I know it, but at the same time, I'm a bit like, oh. Guys, you know what? I'm just going to say it purple.
Incorrect. It passes over to Ted.
Green.
Green is correct.
Oh, God. Pretty much won the quiz already.
2-0 already takes a 2-0 lead.
One question. Oh, why? What am I thinking with purple then? Do you know? I'm getting mixed up with bloody Saints Row. That's
you were
purple,
thinking of the ballads. You were thinking of the ballads.
Yeah, maybe.
The ballads were purple.
Yeah, I was getting mixed
up. Because you had obviously Big Smoke.
Yeah, betrayed. One of them was that was the Rivals, wasn't it? That were purple.
Michael. Yeah. He betrayed him, didn't he? And then
yeah. Oh well.
He became.
I think that was it wasn't
anyway
a hard question, but it was a tricky one.
Right. Okay. So second question for Ted. Which 2 comedians did full motion capture stand up for GTA 4?
Oh. Full motion?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I know.
Oh, I think I might know.
I know for a fact.
Do you get half a point if you say one of the 2?
No, I need both.
Oh, God, that's really hard.
Yeah, but you got multiple. Well, Ted has multiple choice if he wants it.
You know what? I'm gonna pass this one because I only.
You're not gonna use multiple choice.
No, because I've got an idea of one. I'd use multiple choice if I knew who the 2 were, but it's not worth it. So I'm just gonna pass this. I'm gonna pass and give it to Sud.
Gamesmanship.
Well,
there you go.
Okay.
I'm gonna have to go multiple choice because again,
you don't get that choice, mate.
Oh.
Yeah, it's only if Ted's used it. That's why he's.
So I'm gonna have to guess the other one because I know one of them.
Okay.
Oh.
Who's the one you know?
Do you know what? I know one of them, so I'm just gonna... The first one's Ricky Gervais.
Correct.
But it's just like the second one. Oh.
By the way, Ted, did you know Ricky Gervais?
Actually, didn't. Which is very bizarre. Why I didn't know that.
I'm gonna.
God,
this is gonna be wrong, but I'm just gonna go Stephen Merchant. I know that's not right though.
No, it's incorrect. The right answer was Ted.
What's the guy's name from the Is it Trevor's character? Wasn't he a comedian?
No. Okay, you're completely wrong.
No.
So who was it?
Well,
Ricky
I was
Gervais
right to skip that
Ricky
one.
Gervais and Cat Williams.
I wouldn't have got that in a million years. So
I assumed that everyone knew Ricky.
But I would have never got.
I knew Ricky.
I would have actually never got Ricky as well.
I'd have never got the other one.
That's new to me.
Okay, well,
there you go.
Fair enough.
So moving over to your second question. Okay, who provides the voice for Officer Tenpenny in GTA San Andreas?
Samuel L. Jackson.
Correct.
Oh, I would have got that one as well.
Yeah, I just remember it was. I remember that. I feel that's quite an easy one, isn't it? I do remember that quite vividly that it was him.
Yeah, that was just like voice acting.
That was a nice one to get.
Well, that makes it 2-1. Right.
Third and last question.
Okay. Right, Ted, your third question. What show does Laszlo Jones host in GTA 5?
I know this. It's a celebrity one, isn't it? Oh. I shouldn't actually speak out loud because I'm just basically giving sud. Right, multiple choice. I'm going for multiple choice for this one.
Okay.
Because it's like at the tip of my tongue, but I just...
All right, I'll tell you. Multiple choice is Republican Space Rangers, Rehab Island, Fame or Shame, or Organ Farm.
Fame or Shame.
Correct.
Yes, see, I knew it. I was going to say like celebrity. It was something to do with celebrities. And I knew it. Obviously, that was where Michael's daughter, he ended up having a bust up, didn't he? And then he ended up like chasing them on like in his car on the boat or whatever. And she was on the boat, wasn't she? Like getting drunk because she was on like Fame or Shame.
Man knows his stuff.
I do remember. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't have got that without the multiple choice either.
That's annoying. I feel I should have got that one though, because it was there. But it just wasn't. I couldn't.
Yeah.
Fame or Shame.
Well, I can't win now, but
annoying.
I want to try and at least answer the last question right. So hit me with it.
Right, Sud, your third question and final question. What is the name of the in-game chicken restaurant in San Andreas?
Cluck and Bell.
Correct.
Yeah. That's so. I'm just really annoyed now about that Grove Street one because I would have bet. Basically, that was the question. That's the difference between winning and losing.
That was actually your easiest question as well.
Yeah, I know. I mean, to be fair, I think Cluck and Bell was pretty easy as well, but
like, yeah, I mean, you're basically running around with like green teammates. You even get to recruit them. Your map's green.
I had purple in my head.
Your map's green.
Yeah, I just had purple in my head. Like I said, I think I got confused with the enemies.
I honestly thought I'd set you up with a tap in there.
At the start of the game, you basically have to buy clothes that are green.
Yeah, I know. There's that many GTAs though. There's that many GTAs and different colours and stuff. I just got confused. But
well,
anyway,
it's terrible.
Ted wins by
I know what
half a
you
point.
did. I reckon you actually bought like the purple. You went to the store and like wanted to be like the bollards or whatever.
Maybe I
thought they were ballers.
Maybe. Whatever they were called.
Ballers. Is that it? Yeah, that's
bollards.
Right. Bollards. That is like the most ungangster name.
The bollards.
White middle class gang.
Oh shit, man! The bollards are coming.
To be honest, though, I actually thought I thought I was going into that as the underdog. Ted knows the GTA games probably better than me, I think. So I think I was going in a slight underdog with that one. Maybe.
Well, I had played like San Andreas. Like
it was close.
Times.
Hey, you gave a good account of yourself, Sud, to be fair. And
they got 2 points,
wasn't here to defend himself,
so.
Well,
2.5 to 2. It was a close game. So.
Ricky Gervais. So.
See, I really thought the Ricky one was easy if someone used multiple choice because I thought Ricky, everyone used.
Well, if that had been my question, I would have got the half point. But oh well.
See, that's why I was right to skip.
Better luck next week.
Yeah.
There you go.
Just wait for next week's quiz. I'll be beating Perks on that one.
Right. Anyway. That brings the end to our show. So congratulations, Ted, on your debut victory in the Checkpoint Reach podcast quiz.
What's the prize?
No prize.
Yeah,
sorry.
nothing, mate.
You get the pride of the Pride Award for GTA.
Yeah.
For being
Pride
GTA
award,
knowledge.
I'll take
Bask
it.
in your glorious win, mate.
Yep.
Anyway, that brings the end to the podcast. So, where can people find you on social media, Sud?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at David Tenspud.
Lovely stuff. How about you, Ted?
I'm at TedParry1 on Twitter.
Lovely stuff, and you can find me on social media on Twitter and Instagram at Leld, LEL3Ds, add a 9 on the end for Instagram, and you can also follow the Checkpoint Reach podcast on social media on Twitter, Instagram and Facebook at CheckReachPod. If you're listening to us on audio, please like and rate the show, leave a good review if possible, and if you're listening on YouTube, like and subscribe and comment on the video, as that'll help the channel to grow. Anyway, thanks for joining me as ever, guys. Well, as ever.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for joining us again,
Thanks.
Ted. It's good to have you on the
Thanks for
show.
coming on, Ted.
Yeah,
That's
Nice
fine.
to have you on. You have to come on more often.
I will.
Yeah,
I will.
You'll be hearing more from Ted
I'll be
soon,
more
I'm sure.
prepared for the quiz as well.
Well, you won.
He's going to do his research.
You won.
Yeah, you did win, actually. So you don't
Yeah, but I want to get every question right next time.
Fair
Ooh.
enough.
That's a
There
big,
you go.
Big
prediction.
claim there. So yeah,
Yeah.
have a good week, guys. Bye.
All right,
Right,
bye-bye.
Cheers. Bye.